Right now on Hoosier News Source, COVID cases in Greek life spike on campus, and we have the latest numbers. And find out how dining halls are functioning safely during the pandemic.
And I have a look at a history-making hurricane season, as well as what we can expect from Hurricane Sally. Hoosier News Source starts now.
Hello and welcome to the 22nd season premiere of Hoosier News Source. I'm Sasha Sears. And as you can see, the set looks different this year and we navigate through the pandemic, but we promise to continue to bring the latest on campus every week. We begin Hoosier News Source with the latest COVID-19 updates in the area. Andrew Lemparski joins us in the studio with the details. Andrew?
It's been over a week now since we last had an update on COVID-19 cases from the university. They say they're pushing back the release of numbers every week to Wednesdays to have more time to update their data. We take a look at what we last heard from the university on September 8th. You'll see that there were over 650 positive cases in a 7-day span. That's up from roughly 250 the week before. But taking a closer look, one of the biggest factors in that increase is Greek houses. 24.5% of those in Greek houses tested positive in the university's second week of mitigation testing. In residence halls, that number is just 3.6%. Now, nearly all those Greek houses are under quarantine orders. IUSTV News reporter Catherine Patterson has more on what that's like for students.
Several sororities and fraternities this week have gone on total lockdown as COVID-19 makes its way into Greek houses. Since August 19th, there's been a major outbreak of the virus, with some Greek houses having over 80% of their members testing positive, leaving sororities and fraternities little time to respond. Among the first houses to be quarantined was Alpha Sig Phi, where sophomore Connor Berry chose to endure the quarantine with his fellow brothers.
So basically, once you get your test back that's positive, you either go home or you isolate in the house. So some kids went home. I didn't feel like going home. Didn't want to risk my parents and stuff like that.
All Greek housing follows the same protocol set by both the CDC and Indiana University, with sections of the house being reserved strictly for isolation, where members of the house have tested positive for coronavirus and masks being required everywhere other than the residents' personal rooms. Nicole Quimbo, a member of Sigma Kappa, says the quarantine hasn't been as bad as she expected.
Because that just made me and my roommate even closer, forces us to really get to know each other. So, yeah, we can open our windows though. It's not like we're dying of not having any fresh air.
Although life inside the dorms has appeared to be positive, frustrations are stemmed at the university's response, with the lack of accessible statistics for COVID-19 and on-campus living in comparison to the weekly updates to Greek life data.
I think it's been annoying that amount of tests we have compared to the dorm when 2 days before the quarantine started. My friends and we went skating down to Wright, right? And I kid you not, there were more people outside at Wright, mingling with no mask than I have ever seen at the ASIG house.
Nicole says that despite the circumstances, she's been enjoying the silver linings.
We're all in the same situation. We all kind of just bond on the fact that, it does kind of suck, and it is a little bit different in terms of social events, but we're all kind of just getting through it together. So no, I wouldn't change that. It is just a little bump in the road.
The university hopes to test all students who spend time on campus at least once a week by mid-October. We plan to keep you updated as the university's testing policy evolves. A video of young people gathered on 3 pontoon boats at Lake Monroe is causing concern due to the spread of COVID-19. Over Labor Day weekend, captured video showed 3 30-foot double-decker pontoons tied together and partiers failing to social distance. The Indiana Department of Natural Resources and Indiana University Police Department are still investigating to see if any of the young people on the boats are university students. IU officials say those students could face sanctions for violating COVID health orders, including large, unsafe, private gathering of more than 15 people, an order Bloomington Mayor John Hamilton issued in late August. Lake Monroe Boat Rental Company owned the boats seen in the video and says they warned the group of college-age renters that meeting up with or tying the boats together is not allowed. The renters forfeited their deposit and had their remaining 2020 reservations canceled. IU student government recently announced their new coronavirus task force, which plans to directly work with administration. Their immediate goal prioritizes students' safety and that students know what to do if they become infected. IUSG allocated $30,000 in their budget for pandemic resources. The two co-chairs of the task force are in contact with Dr. Caroline Klare, who's in charge of mitigation testing, as well as students in isolation dorms at Ashton. The task force plans on working to improve those students' quarantine conditions. The task force plans to be proactive for the second semester and to avoid a spike in cases as seen this fall.
Just numbers-wise, being able to be on campus in a place that is actively trying to make sure that you are COVID-free is much safer than being home where perhaps you don't have those same protections.
In October, the university plans to start on-site testing and estimates to test 5,000 students per day. IU dining halls look a little different this semester, and that's because IU isn't allowing sit-in dining due to the pandemic. HNS reporter Noelle Friel joins us now with that story. Noelle?
Thanks, Sasha. That's right. IU dining halls have gone takeout only this semester. IU has partnered with Grubhub to offer online ordering, and students are expected to either pick up their food orders at the food court or have them delivered. Take a look.
The IU food courts that are always notoriously crowded around lunch and dinner time now look like this. The tables where freshmen once sat and ate with friends are now empty. Instead, the food courts have been reconfigured for students to pick up their online orders. But the transition to takeout only hasn't exactly been easy for dorm residents like freshman Sarah Rice.
You'll wait 45 minutes and then they'll cancel your order.
Why do they cancel your order?
They just get overflowed or they realize they were out of it and you just get a notification that you were refunded and they cancel it, but you already waited 45 minutes, so now it's like a 2-hour wait to get food. It's a mess.
Aside from long wait times and canceled orders, she also tells us there's an alarming lack of options for those with dietary restrictions.
I'm actually a vegan,
Okay.
so it's been a little bit of a challenge. Like, they have a couple vegan options, but like there's 3 meals in a day and there's like 3 options, so it's a little annoying, and there's also a big lack of vegetables.
Dorm residents also seem to be missing the social aspect of eating with friends, but they may have found a solution for that.
I'm here at Forest Food Court, and as you can see behind me, students have begun to take to eating outside as a way to get that social interaction that they're now missing since IU has closed its dining halls. Do you feel like it's made it harder to meet people?
Yes, 100%.
When the weather's nice, so we'll go outside into like the main courtyard and eat there.
It seems like eating outside is one way for dorm residents to help make such an unusual year feel just a little bit more normal.
For more information about IU meal plans and resources for those with food allergies or dietary restrictions, you can visit dining.indiana.edu.
On September 8th, IU students received an alert from IUPD about a reported sexual assault involving 2 males and a female victim at Eigenman Hall that occurred on September 5th. In response, about 100 students gathered outside of Eigenman on Thursday night to bring attention to sexual assault on college campuses. Event organizers and sexual assault survivors spoke to the crowd. Attendees remained socially distanced during the sit-in and held a moment of silence for victims of sexual harassment and assault. IU proposed a $235 million construction plan and requests the funding come from the Indiana state budget. The university knows the state will not allocate the exact amount requested because of the pandemic. IU plans to divide the budget into 5 large sections. Athletic facilities and on-campus housing are included in the renovations, and the renovations plan is to start in 2022 if IU receives the money in 2021. Coming up on Hoosier News Source, we hear from IU President's wife, Lori Burns McRobbie, and Caroline Klare joins us with this week's forecast and updates on Hurricane Sally. Early rainfall from Hurricane Sally made its way to the Gulf Coast. Caroline Klare has the latest on when this storm will make landfall. Caroline?
Thanks, Sasha. Just when we thought 2020 could not get any more eventful, an astonishing 5 tropical systems have developed in the Atlantic earlier this week, only the second time in history, with the first occurring in 1971. Sally, Paulette, Renee, Teddy, and Vicky have put us at 20 storms that have been named this year, nearly twice the average. One more cyclone, and the National Hurricane Center will have to move on to the Greek alphabet, which has only happened one other time in 2005. But before we go Greek, let's take a look at how Hurricane Sally will impact us here in Bloomington. As you can see, Hurricane Sally just coming up from the Gulf, moving slower than the average person walks, a whopping 2 miles an hour. And what that means for our south down here is a lot of rain. They're expecting possibly over 10 feet of rain. But here in Bloomington, a cold front coming in from Canada will keep the rain to the south of us, leaving us with a pretty dry week. If we take a look at the extended forecast, we will see quite a sunny week. Small rain chances on Wednesday and Thursday from Hurricane Sally, but as we move on to the weekend, mostly sunny and lower temperatures from that cold front, keeping it a nice, cool week. And going into early next week, temperatures will rise slightly. Have a great week and grab your mask and head outside, breathe in the fresh air, and maybe do Zoom outside of your room. Stay safe, Hoosiers. Sasha, back to you.
McRobbie is a household name here at IU, but not a lot of people know about his wife, Lori. I visited their family home and spoke to Mrs. McRobbie about her legacy.
After President McRobbie's retirement announcement, I interviewed Lori McRobbie about another IU favorite, Eleanor Ostrom's 2009 Nobel Peace Prize. She's a woman who inspired her, and McRobbie hopes to do the same for other women.
And again, it's something that in the women's philanthropy work that I do in the foundation is much about raising money for the university. It is also about helping women increase their leadership potential and their visibility and move into leadership roles across campus.
As the nation's first and only interdisciplinary and university-based initiative, Dr. Maureen Bickers and McRobbie started the Center of Excellence for Women in Technology to support women in male-dominant fields.
She and I, we've got a long history of working together. I love her passion about women and her passion about technology and putting the two together, and that's what I was doing too. And we've just sort of, created this path together and made things happen.
The Board of Trustees had a historic high for having 4 women out of the 9 members. And women like Caroline Gerald, the first woman to chair the IU chemistry department, is part of the change.
Both here at IU and I think across the United States, the pool of qualified women to take on the top job is growing. And it's growing it's grown in the time that Michael's been president. I've seen that. And so, yes, could IU hire a woman to succeed Michael? I think it's absolutely possible that would be the case.
For more information and how to get involved with CWIT, head to cwit.indiana.edu. President McRobbie and his wife are expected to leave the university after the spring semester. Lexi Vanetti joins us with the latest on IU's plan for sports during the pandemic. Lexi?
Thanks, Sasha. I'm so excited to share IU sports news, but this year will look a little different. Big Ten fall sports were postponed on August 11th, just 6 days after releasing the football schedule. The conference presidents and chancellors voted to pause all fall sports. This includes football, men's and women's soccer, cross country, field hockey, and women's volleyball. Fans, coaches, athletes, and even President Donald Trump expressed agitation with this decision. Buckeye Justin Fields went viral with his tweet that says, "There's been too much work put in," and hashtag "We Want to Play." And he was not alone. This week on Twitter, "We Want to Play" was trending. But now the conference is talking again. They were set to vote on Sunday to allow conference games beginning as early as October 17th or as late as October 31st. The vote has not been made yet. We will keep you updated on this decision. So tell us how you feel about this vote. Should Big Ten football resume this fall? Tweet at IUSTV News your thoughts. And men's basketball adds to the roster Kenya Hunter, co-associate head coach. Hunter and Miller have history as they have known each other for about 2 decades. I got the chance to talk to Hunter this week, and he talked about his relationship with Miller and how it drove his decision to coach at IU. He said he's big on relationships, especially with recruiting. As for the team, the Hoosiers paused voluntary workouts on September 4th for the safety of everyone in the program. So now we wait. We wait for an update on fall sports, potentially resuming, wait for the return of winter sports, and mask up until then.
Thanks, Lexi, and thank you for watching this week's episode of Hoosier News Source. To learn more about this week's stories, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at IUSTV News. I'm Sasha Sears. From Bloomington, Indiana, we'll see you next time.